Princess Catherine curtsy to Prince George when he becomes king. According to protocol, Catherine will have to curtsy to her son, as the rules oblige to greet the king to everyone in the room. However, we are talking about an official setting and how things will work in practice at the family matter. It is highly
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I thought sure I printed the agenda, but somehow it didn't. Oh, wait, maybe it did. Oh, yeah.
Good evening.
Hey, Howard.
Suzanne, good evening to you.
Hi, Howard.
Fred.
Good evening.
Hey, Fred.
Hi, Fred.
I was thinking for a fundraiser, maybe we could sell rabbits.
That's
They're taking over the garden,
Rose
Yeah.
eating rabbits.
among other things. Yes,
Did you say they ate hostas also?
they're cropping them off. Yeah, both
Hmm.
sides of the yard, different varieties.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi,
Mary.
Ben. Hi,
Oh,
Mary.
no.
Nothing back from nobody.
Did you hear from anybody not being able to make it?
Christian. Christian was the only one I heard from.
Oh, here comes Jen. So we're missing Steve and Marge.
Steve and Marge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're missing one other person. Steve. Oh, yeah. No, right.
Because Christian's excused.
That's the 6. Right, and Marge. Correct.
And
Hey,
Marge.
Steve.
Hey,
Hi,
Steve.
Did I say something or is there silence for just because the meeting hasn't started?
We're in contemplation.
Yes.
Prayerful contemplation.
Mhm.
We had to
Careful.
stop talking about you because you got here.
Well, there, that mystery solved.
Did I text Marge?
Sure.
He's always just a little late anyway, so. Where'd John go?
and a better offer.
Maybe?
Press.
That's better. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, very well.
There's no static or anything, is there?
Nope.
no.
Okay, good. Hi.
Hey,
Well, we'll give her 2 more minutes, then we'll get going. I am
Okay.
recording it, so if she hops on late, there's a record of it. Well, actually, no, we do need her.
To do the treasurer's report, right?
Yeah.
There goes John again.
Comes John again.
Back again.
I just repositioned my laptop. I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
yeah.
So did you text her?
Yeah. I
Okay.
didn't get an answer. I
Okay.
tried calling.
I can call her.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Hi, how are you?
How
Jen, are you-
about those Brewers?
Oh. I never heard what happened to the admirals.
Oh. Me
Are they-
neither.
Are they out?
I do not know.
John, are you gonna talk about your meeting?
Yes,
Okay,
I would imagine.
Well,
He's on there. I got some old business and new business items crisscross.
Did you guys not hear me?
he's talking about. I just didn't see it on the agenda. I was just, that's all I was curious about. Other than safety concerns. Fred, was there a finance meeting?
We're 2 weeks early, remember?
Oh, no, I mean, because we didn't have the financial report last time. So there was no meeting, right?
Um,
Yeah, we had a meeting, but we didn't do business last time. That's why we're meeting this time. So then we
Oh,
have a finance
finance.
meeting again next Monday for the following Monday. So, all right, well, I got her answer machine. So let's get going. Good and gracious God, we thank you for bringing us here today. We thank you for the life, work, and mission of All Saints. We give you thanks for our congregation, our members, and our friends. Watch over our meeting tonight. Give us clarity of mind, clarity of purpose, and the conviction to carry out and do what you would have us do when we pray in Jesus' name. All right.
Amen.
All right, we have two sets of minutes from the March 19th and the April 23rd meeting. So let's have a look at the March 19th one first.
I'm hearing a lot of feedback. I wonder if people are not speaking, if we should go on mute. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Mary. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the March 19th minutes? Somebody wants to move to accept them?
I would move that. I read them and they finally look fine to me.
Howard move,
Seconded.
Steve second. All in favor?
I
Aye.
All right. Then the April 23rd minutes.
I'll move again. They look fine to me.
All right, Howard move.
Second.
second.
Mary, well, I heard Mary this time.
Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I
All right, well, Marge isn't here, but maybe those of us who are at the finance committee can chime in. We did have to have Chuck. We had some questions about the statements and some accounts, and Chuck revised the statements to address the concerns we had. It was just mostly like stuff posted in different places. I guess the bottom line is we're a little bit ahead. We're about $2,400 ahead of where we thought we would be. That still leaves us with the deficit that we're whittling away at. But all in all, there were a couple discrepancies that he straightened out. I think just having to do with some insurance payments for John crossing periods. Wasn't that it, Howard?
Yes, yes.
And it looks like you got that. And
That's a lot of overpayment. Am I reading that right?
we're at,
I'm few lines below line 10. It's under assets. Page, I think it's the first page, and if you go down, no, it's page 2. And if you go down about halfway, it says, other current assets, overpayments to John Seaman Combined Fund, Friends of the Sea.
Oh.
9,000 something.
no, what that means is that in March, the overall asset balance was 83,000. In April, it was 173,000, so that it decreased by $9,700, which takes into account the prepaid pledges. There was also an issue with prepaid pledges.
Okay,
Yeah, but that's the cash balance that goes down month by month.
I may have misread that too. It looked like there was that overpayment perhaps was only $233.89 in March.
Yeah, that's not a payment, that's an asset balance. I mean, that's like the savings account and the cash accounts,
Sure.
which do go down on a monthly basis because we take out the prepaid pledges from
Okay.
the checking account. Because we put the prepaid pledges aside and then draw them out of the checking account or out of the savings account once a month.
Okay. That makes sense.
But the general expense accounts were in order. That's how we ended up 2,300 ahead, basically. Chuck, we also talked to Chuck last time. We talked about doing a monthly or quarterly snapshot to put in the bulletin, and we agreed on a format so that next week at the finance committee meeting, Chuck will send the little snapshot that we'll put forward and put in the bulletin.
Good.
Just to help everybody understand where we are. And we sort of had them figured out so that basic income accounts, total expense accounts, and then what's left on the deficit and how much headway we've made towards the deficit. So it should be these are pretty detailed reports that sometimes take a while to plow through, but the snapshot should give us a much easier, clearer sort of down and dirty way to look at stuff. And it'll make it much easier for you to, if anybody has any questions, to explain.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody has any questions on anything.
So it appears that if I'm reading this right, uh, expenses were 20,000 less than we budgeted year to date.
Year to date.
It looks like I'm looking at a line.
Yep.
It's on page 6, I think. And it's about halfway down,
Page-
and it says where did I see that? Expense. Okay, so yeah, total expense, it's right below line 741.111. And it's if you go over to where it says year to date budget, it looks like we're $20,594 below budgeted expenses. Is that correct?
No,
That's
what
pretty
that, no, what it's saying is we predicted at this point that we'd have an operational deficit of 20,594.
Oh, okay.
That's the budget. Right
Mhm.
next to it, it's saying that our deficit, the actual deficit is 18,157, which means we picked up $2,400.
Okay,
Um,
that's good though.
yeah, it is. And we'll have a couple, I think we had once somebody pledges once a year, like $6,500. And I think, or they don't pledge, they just donate that much money once a year. And that will be reflected on the, I think it's reflected on the May statement, which just came in. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know if anybody else did on the finance committee. So I think the end of May will look a little bit better. And we're still
Okay.
waiting for a couple things to come in, so. I say this a lot. I'm not naive about money, but I'm not losing any sleep over it right now either. So,
Yeah.
So do we need to make a motion to accept?
Yeah, we need to make a motion to, we technically, we received the financial report.
So moved.
Mary,
Second,
Steve. Any last questions? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Sue,
Seeing
Okay.
Wordie?
I just took time to figure out how to unmute. I don't really have anything to say. I mean, book sale starts on Monday. So far we have 2 kids, but it turns out one of them is going to summer school, so I don't know what we're gonna do about that. I got my grandkids coming in on Thursday to help set up. Pricers are coming in on Monday to have a meeting, and we should be hitting the ground running.
so like
I have
a week from Tuesday?
Well, actually, the first day is Monday. I'll have the kids and the pricers. But we'll be actually working probably on Tuesday.
Like a week from today, Tuesday.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
And then I have some questions about, because there's so much going on this summer, and I need to talk to you about where we put books this year, if it makes a difference, but that doesn't need to come up here.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think we'll be okay.
Do you think, Howard, Donald nailed me on the way out the door this morning. I think sometimes he waits at the back door for me to go home.
Okay.
But he was concerned about the influx of books or lack of influx of books this year.
Yeah, we don't have as many books.
Okay.
I'm
We're
not losing sleep over that either.
We're getting, we're getting phone calls, so.
Yeah, and
I
a couple emails I've gotten too, so.
Okay,
And the cards are out, and you know, some of them were taken on Sunday as well, and I've been handing them out wherever I go. So I
Okay,
think we'll be okay, but we might not need a tent. However, we've discovered that having the tent does bring in people, so we may just put something out there at any rate.
it's certainly visible.
Yeah,
How does the tent, do you pay for it by the week or the day or the
by
month?
the day. But last year we didn't need the whole big tent, so Kathy and Eric had one that they use, so they put up theirs, so it didn't cost anything.
Okay,
It was smaller, but it worked out okay. So we'll see. But otherwise, I do pay for it by the day, because we really don't need it. By the end of the sale, we can bring the books in.
we have a 10 by 10 one at our house with walls. I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah. And we have
Well,
a 12, we have a 12 by 12 one without walls.
Yeah. Do we still have that canopy in the basement?
Yeah,
I mean, at church?
yeah.
That, we were wondering about that for the July event, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, okay,
Otherwise, we'll be fine.
okay. And are you doing, what's the status of pickups this year?
We're not doing pickups, except some people, little old ladies in the neighborhood, the nuns out at Divine Savior. I mean, we'll doing some pickups, so if they call in wine, we do them
Okay,
with the kids, but pretty much we say, can you drop them off?
okay. All right. Okay,
That's all I have.
all right. Howard, do you have anything?
Yes, a couple of weeks ago, I'd sent out a letter from the American Red Cross. David Barkey and I have talked for a couple of months about what first aid procedures we might have at the church, just to have people who were ready or had training in case somebody collapses or somebody has a stroke or somebody, has whatever kind of problems they could have. David did some research on it, and his recommendation was a program by the American Red Cross. I sent a copy of that off to the chapter. I think I hope you all got it.
I don't think I got it.
Okay.
When did you
The-
send it, Howard? A
Pardon?
couple weeks? Did you say you sent it a couple
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago?
it was a couple of weeks ago. Well, I sent it when I got it, and then then our meetings got goofed up or the schedule got changed. At any rate, the bottom line is they want $113.90 per person, and they want 8 people. I think that's expensive, and I don't think that does the trick. But I think that we might, with your own permission, I might try to solicit interest from neighboring parishes and see if we can get 8 people to do it. The program takes 5 hours and has refresher courses and provides a 2-year certification, which from my own experience, you get the first aid training, which I've had, and then 2 years later, you believe, what was that? I forgot, you just don't know. And the important thing about training is that when something unexpected happens, you have a built-in response. You're not standing there trying to intellectualize what should I do? Who should I call? What, that you already have a plan of action. So I think if it's all right with you folks, I would think that we could get 2 people, that the church could pay for 2 people, one for the 8 o'clock, one for the 10 o'clock, and then, or if you want 4, we're 2 and 2, and then get other parishes to do the same thing. I mean, it's very much, I would think, in other parishes' interest, just as is ours, to have people that are trained and ready to do that. So I
You
guess,
sent that email on May 15th, Howard.
okay,
If I got it, everybody did.
I just checked my email and I don't see it, so.
well, I can
double
resend,
check.
I'll resend the thing.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that either, but that would be great. Sorry.
Okay,
Is it the training done at our site or is it done at the Red Cross?
they come to where we are.
Okay.
Let's see, and the printing is very bad on this. Whether a full service training, an American Red Cross instructor comes to your facility to train your employees on a mutually agreed date and time. Billing a minimum of 8 participants per class session. And the Red Cross is required to collect sales aid, blah, blah, blah. First aid and CPR AD trains you to respond to breathing and cardiac emergencies, injuries, and sudden illness. CPR AED trains you to respond to cardiac and breathing emergencies. First aid trains you to identify and respond to common sudden illnesses such as seizures, strokes, allergic reactions, poisoning, and diabetic emergencies. The training classes include a 2-year certification, free digital training material, and free digital certificates for your employees. With our full service training in American, I read that, and then that's pretty much it. David went for the highest quality education, which I think is great. The expense of it is something I wanted to get other people's opinions on, and just thoughts as to how it would go ahead.
I'm looking at it. Did I mishear? I thought I heard you say it was around 118, but it looks like it's 1,186.
That's for the total. That's for the total. It says the cost for 8 people to be trained in adult and pediatric first aid CPR AD is $11,186.20. Each additional person would cost $113.90. The total cost includes the 275 online delivery for the training class, and additional training classes would cost $275 per class. The length of the class is 5 hours. It's not really clear, but I'm thinking that the $113 pretty much for 8 people comes up to that 1186. It certainly, if 1186 plus $130, they can forget it. We'll go somewhere else. But that's what I got. If the chapter would like to pursue that idea, or thinks that it's a good idea to have first aid training, or has a better idea as to where first aid training could be done at a lesser cost, I'm open to those suggestions.
Did anybody here, when we first got the AED, go to the training? I remember going to St. Francis Church in Menominee Falls. I think Beth Engel did. There was a group, maybe Carol Ketter. There was a group of us who went when we first got the machine, and I don't know if it was part of the machine or if it was something we hunted up. And I don't remember paying for it, but there's a lot I'm not remembering these days. So
yeah, the spiel from the machine is that you start it and it'll tell you what to do. My feeling is an unexpected event. There's all kinds of adrenaline flowing, that people,
right.
And everyone is up in the air, and some damn machine telling you, well, now what you do is it may or may not make any sense to me. I don't think I'd be up to handling it that way.
Yeah, John.
I think this piggybacks along with the safety meeting that we had, and I think that what the officer said was that if we reach out to District 1, they have a community advocate that would probably come and help with that, or the fire department in our district for free. As far as the use of the machine, I would think. So that would be worth researching that way first, because that sounds pretty expensive. If it's $11,000. So that's my thoughts on it. And like I remember at the pig roast, as I think I mentioned before, my cousin and his wife were volunteer fire department people from Elm Grove, and they came and demonstrated it to small groups at the pig roast.
That's right.
A few years back. So there's that option as well. I could always reach out to him again.
And I do know from the AED training we went to, and actually, I mean, going back as far as Boy Scouts, the assumption is that somebody's doing CPR alongside of getting the AED ready to fire up. And so, so there's a more comprehensive protocol going on than just hooking the person up to the machine. Somebody's supposed to be doing CPR too. So I think
You
it
have
would
to wait between jolts too for the thing to recharge. I've never done it or seen it in person, but I've watched Baywatch and they do it on there.
Yeah, and we just changed the batteries. So
It'll charge faster.
but I do agree that given our population and just sort of life in general, it would be good to have a few people with some degree of training. If you would like, I'll call our community officer person in the fire department tomorrow and find out, because
Well, I wonder, like, as far as if we're paying for a class, wouldn't this be something that we could loop in the whole diocese with?
right,
You know, like Tulsa and Bayview and so on and so forth, and do it all together.
yeah.
I think that would be something that would be logical.
All right, I think let's just do a little bit more homework and come back, because I think if we have to pay, we should pay. It is a lot. It's 1,100, not 11,000. But
Yeah, and we don't think we need to get 8 people out of this church,
no,
but we can get others. I just wonder, would the diocese be of any use in corralling other people to do that or
No.
to join that? Well,
basically
okay.
no. So everybody's getting ready to go to general convention at the end of the month. And then at general convention, they're going to vote to approve formally the Trilog merger. I don't think they're going to be good for Jack until for 5 years.
Okay.
Because no, I mean, technically after July, we're the Diocese of Wisconsin, and you know they're just running all over trying to put structures in place and figure out who's going to be filling what slot as far as the staff goes. I wouldn't depend on them.
Well, okay, but what about just reaching out to the local region?
Right.
East side, Tulsa, you know, and like, I mean, do we need to, can't Gracie do that for us, or do we need to be the leaders in that?
No, we need to be the leaders in that. But I am going to see, I'm going to be talking with Father Seth at St. Paul's tomorrow. He has some scheduling questions. And I have a meeting with Jason Levan, who's the priest in Bayview, on Thursday. So, and next week I'll be at Trinity Church. I can tell that tomorrow too, because I think all these churches have AEDs, and so
Probably a good idea then to do it all together.
Thank you. Well, Kevin, I will bring that letter that I've sent out. I'll bring it over to the hard copy.
okay,
And that might be something that you could use.
all right.
Thank you for the responses on this. One other item, you'll notice the furniture, the sofas in the hallway have disappeared. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the sexton who did it himself. He got those out. And our feeling was that they were comfortable, but they weren't attractive, and they did not give a good impression to somebody visiting, waiting to see Kevin. So we found a substitute sofa upstairs, which is in good shape, and brought a couple of chairs in, and that fills the bill. And the choir used those benches or those big sofas, and we kind of squish back in. I'm waiting for the service to start, so they might have to straighten their backs and sit in more and less loungy chair, but they'll be okay. And then finally, I am thinking of getting some quotes from scavengers. I've mentioned that I am concerned about the amount of paint cans that are in the basement and how many of those might be oil-based and might, if there was a fire, might really catch fire. And that I'll get some quotes on that. I'll get someone to talk about. And when you look at some of the places in the basement, there's stuffed in corners or in various places. It's probably been there for 40 years or more. And if it's not being used, and if it's flammable, why not get rid of it? So
Yeah.
That's my report.
What's the possibility too of some of the hazardous waste going to the city dump with one of us Milwaukee residents?
Do they have
They
hazardous?
They
Yes.
accept
Yeah, they
paints
have
and
a
stuff, and
hazardous.
I took them a carload of stuff last fall after I cleaned my basement up.
I bet a lot of those paint cans are dry. They don't even consider it hazardous waste if it's dry.
But there's a lot of old oil base too.
Yeah, but if you open they told me once when I took stuff there that if I opened the lid of the paint can and it was solid, that they'd take it and they
That's
wouldn't
right.
even. Yeah,
Well, my son uses up the used cap litter when he's got water-based paints.
that's a good idea too.
Oh. Well,
I don't think anybody wants to use their car to transport paint that might spill.
no, but I've
Yeah.
got my trusty garden trailer.
Oh,
That we've made numerous trips with stuff in that I'm happy to use. You know, if we've got a place to go, Fred, is it that place up off of Mill Road?
I go to the one on Lincoln and about Miller Parkway.
Well, if we can do it with if all we need is a city of Milwaukee resident, I'm happy to use my trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we just pick a time in a day and get a group together and maybe some high school kids for the big sale.
To segregate what is current paint and what isn't.
John would best know that.
Yeah, he would.
And this summer I have those book sale kids too. That they could load up.
Yeah.
trailer.
maybe we can double it up with some book pickups too.
that's a great idea. Yeah.
I have to take it in and get the trailer lights fixed on, but I have an appointment next Tuesday. So after next Tuesday, I'll be legal again.
You'll be lit.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, here's Marge.
Well, somebody's got to tell them what to move, so somebody's got to look and see, and I guess that's up to John, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll coordinate that with you, Kevin, and
Yeah.
and see what we can do, because I think John is the guy who would segregate them and say, I've never seen this one was here before I joined the church,
Yep.
and these are the current ones. So
Yep. And I've left the trailer down there before and chained it to the railing and, filled it up over a couple days and hauled stuff away.
Okay.
So anyway, okay.
All right, that's my report.
All right. I've been spending a lot of time aside from the regular stuff. Well, before I start, I just want to acknowledge how hard our hospitality group works. We've had funerals, ordinations, stuff that, well, Dan Sylvester was a member of the parish for a long time, but I think, and Bishop Gunter even said at one point, he was really grateful to how the cathedral provides hospitality. He's been with us for 3 ordinations now and has just been impressed with our sense of hospitality. And I know that's a lot of work, and sometimes it doesn't seem like there's direct payback or as far as growth in the parish or whatever, but I think it's important, and the hospitality people do a great job. We've got various building projects going on around the building. I don't know if anybody's gone upstairs lately, but we're getting ready to lay the flooring upstairs. Or the first they're going to paint. I think they're painting this week and finishing up carpentry, and they'll be laying flooring. It's starting to clip along. The bathroom upstairs is looking good. And hopefully we're on target for a July 1st move-in date for the diocese. That's what we're shooting for. The downstairs room is also coming along. They poured the concrete where we ripped out that basement, and the rotting walls in the basement have all been ripped out, and the concrete's poured. So they're going to start with the carpentry work in the basement now. I'm sure you all noticed we have a new roof on the Guildhall building, and that went really well, although they ended up having to put new plywood sheathing across the top of the whole building because the old wood was so dried out. It wasn't rotted, but it was dried out to the extent that the nails wouldn't hold. In a high wind, it could actually just pull the shingles right off the roof because there was no, in the trade, we called it withdrawal strength. They measure the pressure that it takes to pull a nail out, and the withdrawal strength was just gone. So that caught us off guard, but that wasn't a biggie and didn't surprise anybody. And then we're commencing with painting the trim on the Guildhall building. Fred, are we doing the church? We're doing the church too, right?
That's on the contract.
Yep. And the wooden trim on the church, the wooden trim on the Guildhall, and also the wooden trim on Nicholson House, which the diocese is paying for. So we're taking care of big chunks of deferred maintenance, which is really good because in the long run, that can end up costing you a lot of money. I'm going to dovetail this into Nicholson House also. We're working with the diocese to get out of Nicholson House. We finally did get the appraisal back on Nicholson House, and it was a little bit disappointing. They appraised the house at $825,000, which is a lot of money, but that's not what I expected. I expected maybe $1 million plus at least, but it didn't pan out that way, mostly because of the condition of the house and deferred maintenance on the house and things like that also. So we'll be dealing with that. The appraiser said he believes that the best use of the property is residential because of the lack of parking, the lack of handicap accessibility to the 3rd floor, and just the general layout of the building prohibits it from being conveniently subdivided into office suites or smaller areas, or even developed into condominiums. You know, it would be hard. It would be very hard to turn that building into apartments, even if the elevator went to the 3rd floor, just because it was just built as a single family home. It was a huge honking single family home, but that's the layout. So the appraiser said he thinks the biggest bang for the buck will come by selling it as a single family home. So that we'll be working on on that. My gut feeling is I think we will try to, when the diocese is out and it's emptied, we'll try to winterize it, and have some decision by the springtime. We don't want to rush into the decision. But then also today I met with the insurance agent who comes by for his annual once a year review of the insurance policy. And he mentioned that if the building is empty, it changes its insurance status. And he suggested that we utilize the space to a minimal amount, even if we have chapter meetings there, if we haven't an office that somebody could use over there, just so we could say with a straight face that no, the building is not empty, people use it. That keeps us from going into a vacant house status as far as the insurance goes. So we'll take that into account. Also, I did talk, John, I also talked to the insurance agent about, I asked him if Church Insurance had any sort of risk management tools, risk management sort of analysis things to work with. And basically, he said, not really. He's sending us kind of a short monograph on how to make sure that you're allowing outside groups to use your building safely. But that's just mostly common sense, like keys, make sure that they have a certificate of insurance, things like that. So they weren't very helpful. I think we asked him once before, and he wasn't entirely helpful with kind of a preventative sort of thing. I think that's about it. Nicholson House is turning into a big, also, I kind of shot something over the bow of the diocese when the assessment came, or the appraisal came back like it did. They said that they paid for the masonry repair on the outside of the house. I don't know if you remember how that happening. I think right before Christmas, they're paying for the trim. But I also said, I think the roof on Nicholson House is deteriorating rapidly. We're going to have to replace the roof, I think, before the winter time, just to make sure that we don't have damage in the house. And I told the diocese I'm expecting them to pay for that also. And also repave the parking lot. If you park on the west end of the building, the pavement is just starting to come up in chunks. And so as part of the conversation that we're going to have with the apartment complex next door, there's no shared, if you're not aware of it, like if you share a driveway with a neighbor, most people will have a written shared driveway agreement saying who's responsible for plowing, or how much you're responsible for plowing, how much you're responsible for like maintenance and paving and things like that. And when the diocese sold that St. John's building, they did not get a shared driveway agreement. There's an easement through there saying that both parties can use the alleyway, but there was never any agreement put in place as to who pays to maintain it. And so I told the diocese, as part of this work that we're doing, we expect them to participate in that because they parked on it for 70 years too. And I don't, we're not going to get top dollar. That's not their fault, but I don't think we need to go into the hole to pay for stuff that they've gotten the benefit of.
They've benefited from all that depreciation.
Yeah, they've benefited in a lot of ways. It wasn't so. So anyway, that kind of caught them off guard. But it is what it is. So it's a big project, but we'll make sure that what we want to do is make sure that we realize the maximum amount of potential out of whatever we do with it. So I think that.
Did we ever look into the possibility of moving that house off the property, selling it as a condition of the sale, they've got to put it on wheels and take it somewhere else?
I have not considered that. No, I know people do it.
And as a
Right.
landmark,
It's also landmarked.
Yes,
right, and the
but it was
landmarking is
moved
the
to
whole
put it there, was
complex.
it not?
What?
Was it not moved to put
No.
there?
Its
No.
predecessor
That was
was moved,
Built there.
It was built there.
and
Yeah.
supposedly by
old
dark
house
of
was
night because the
carted
city
away.
wouldn't approve it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
because
Um,
that land underneath it could be more parking, more green space.
Right.
We don't need well, be nice to have little kids running around the church property.
Well, there's also one other thing we're looking at is there is a developer that our church and the insurance guy has worked with a developer who works with churches to develop properties with unusual property assets like ours. So he's going to plug us in with them and see what they come up to. But I think the biggest expense in holding it, we don't pay property taxes. It's insured one way or another. Is really heating it. And so that would be the biggest expense in carrying it through to the spring. But once it's gone, it's gone. So we just want to make sure that if that's the way we go with it, that we get the most out of it. And in a way that, we don't want somebody opening up a nightclub next door. Or
No
so-
limelight.
Right. But once you sell it, you also lose a certain amount of control over it too. So we just want to be very careful in what we do with it.
You would know more about this than me, but I'm thinking an easement could be put attached to the sale that prevents it from being a gentleman's club or a adult entertainment venue or a bar.
Sure, you can.
I would think the ordinance, the ordinances that cover what.
Yeah,
can be
that's a
done.
residential area too.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, and also we've sort of eliminated renting it for some of the same reasons that handicap accessibility, parking, the layout of the building precludes it from being subdivided conveniently into smaller suites, things like that. So we'll continue having a look around, but that's sort of where we're at with that. But it's turned into a pretty big major project. We've also hired an attorney through Quarles and Brady through the diocesan chancellor, because there's going to be a lot of legal work around it too. I don't know if people are aware of it, but the church and Nicholson House and the Guildhall are all on one single undivided piece of property. There's not an individual lot for Nicholson House. So if we sell it, that's got to be carved out and things like that. So not totally straightforward, but it's better to have it than not have it. We'll capture something out of it one way or another.
good.
I think that's about. Anybody have any questions? John, do you want to talk about the neighborhood event?
Sure. Well, I guess maybe because we're sort of on that path, let's talk about the safety meeting first. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So last Tuesday, Howard and Mary and I met with Glenn Schroeder and Tom. I didn't get his last name, but he's also a deputy at Marquette University. And they were kind enough to come by and just sort of tour the property. And Tom has got my email address. He has not sent a report yet, but he's also doing this with his church. And so he had some insight on inexpensive ways to be safer, I guess. And so, and Mary and Howard, you can chime in at any time, but things like, just like off the top of my head, in the basement downstairs, the windows that are exposed could have either, like partial bars put on, or there's a certain type of seal that's like bulletproof that is hard, so it doesn't shatter, so it's harder to break into. Things like that. So, and he still has to send that report over. But I also gave, I had Cindy print out, and I have copies of this, but there's a self-assessment from Homeland Security that I gave Howard and Mary to look at, and Chris, I think. And it's pretty lengthy, but maybe as a group we can work through that just to see what our risk is for things like active shooter event and, other sort of aggressive behavior and those sorts of things. So I think the 4 topics that I wanted them to help us with, I had unruly patron, for lack of a better term, inclement weather, which you've had happen in the past, but just sort of an actual exit plan or, a plan for weather, and then active shooter and other emergency, along with the CPR training. So I think, we can kind of dovetail all of that together, and it's a work in progress, and that Tom is supposed to send that report soon. Mary or Howard, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I had a question about the alarm system.
Yeah.
So we noticed some units on the walls, but
Yeah.
I don't believe we're using them.
No, we discontinued using the alarms. It wasn't because it kept going off. We kept getting false alarms on it. And then we were getting to a point where we we're going to start paying fines to the cities. Like things like the narthex doors are so big that in the winter when the wind blows, it kind of shakes the doors, which were enough to set off motion detectors. Also, they were not hooked up to the fire. There's no fire alarm or smoke alarm, because if you have a fire detection system or a smoke alarm system, it has to be regulated. It has to be approved by the city. And in order for us to get that kind of approval from the city, they would need like sprinkler systems and exit lighting and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then the final kicker was then we had 2 break-ins for which the alarms did not go off. And so we just, and Fred used to get calls at night all the time.
I was so glad when Kevin arrived and I could give the night call list his number.
Yeah. So that's the long and short of the alarm. And there's a separate alarm for the basement on that one basement door that goes out to the side parking lot.
We saw that.
That's independent from the other alarm system. That's just the door. But again, it wasn't, it didn't go to the, it didn't go directly to the police. It went to the Milwaukee Alarm Company, and then they would come, and then they were charging. It wasn't possible. So that's probably maybe more than you want to know, but that's why the alarms aren't turned on right now.
Well, the good news is Glenn Schroeder, he came by at night a couple times. He's impressed with the lighting. That's always a big aspect. He said there could be a little bit more in the back, but overall it's really well lit. There could be, they like the cameras in the narthex, even though they're just mainly used for streaming, but maybe they could be on as surveillance cameras. Not sure how that all works, but that'll be apparently in there. Suggested like by your office, some deterrent shrubbery, like thorny shrubbery, that is all, like easy solutions, like for the garden folks or stuff like that, that can help with. So that all, I think, from what I understand, will be in the ideas that he's going to send to us.
Am I the only one frozen, or is John?
I think John is.
John.
I think John's frozen.
Okay.
Another comment was the back door where the deliveries are made in the book right next to where Donald works.
Yep.
Which I understand we have been broken in that location. You know, that has a big glass pane.
Yeah.
So another idea would
Let's just start.
John, we missed a lot of what you said because you were frozen.
Okay, I don't know where I left off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear. You were at what the gentleman saying we had good lighting. They were giving a couple different pointers. And then we didn't hear the end of it.
Oh, just like, you know, the shrubbery around the office windows, that deterrent shrubbery, like thorny stuff. You know, because that's a point of access that is vulnerable by your office. And just then making sure that everybody, all the groups that use our space have the same information. And then, you know, other things like the exit plans and stuff like that once, let's say something major did happen, you know, that we're all on the same page. So, but it's a work in progress. And I don't know, Mary, did you have anything else to add, or Howard?
I was just also mentioning that back door next to Donald's, near Donald's area, that we should either put grates over that glass because it's in the back, so it's not like it's unwelcoming, or perhaps replace the door depending on the cost. And then the other one was putting numbers, like discrete numbers on the door, because if there is a medical emergency, you can, when you're calling the police or a fire department, say use, you know, door 7. I guess the parish that this particular gentleman was involved with had a lot of doors, so we may decide it's not necessary, but that was just another low cost thing that could help in an emergency.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good idea that they had, I thought. And then, you know, like just a sticker on, you know, like something that's attractive, but it's so that it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a good idea. So
yeah, my impression was these gentlemen were down to earth, and their observations were sensible.
Okay, I'll look forward to getting that.
okay. All right, and then we can segue to the festival on the lawn. It's July 14th currently. If anybody has any objection, speak up. It is the last Sunday of Bastille, or the Sunday of Bastille Days, and it is the Sunday before the RNC, which, you know, I mean, there's arguments on both sides. It could bring traffic to us if we sort of market ourselves to Bastille Days and to the new apartment buildings that are right close to us and the old ones that have been by us. I'd like to get a banner like we have for the book sale if possible. I don't know how much those are.
Well, the banner, the book sale banner will be up on the church, but I could get the small ones that hang out in front. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like $80, so it's not a big deal.
Okay. And then the ideas that we had were a bake sale and a baking contest kind of together, some live music or strolling music, sale of brats and hot dogs and veggie burgers and soda, and you know, just a real welcoming event, games out front, things like that. And so I'm looking for volunteers to assist, and you know, ways to market and so on and so forth. So.
And there's a meeting after church this Sunday, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I did talk to a marketing guy, and we can get a mailing list of a 6-block radius for individual apartments for $250. And then it just that doesn't include the material. You have to either have your own material printed, or they'll do it at a cost. And we also have Clark Graphics. But the mailing list.
Showard Press has been very good to us for the
Yeah.
book sale. I mean, my book sale mailings were just incredibly low. So they would give us the mailing list and we could send that over to the Showard Press or whoever did the printing.
Correct.
Or do they have to do that themselves?
I didn't get the specifics. They just said that they would provide the mailing list for $250. I'm assuming that in this day and age, they somehow electronically transfer it to a printer or print labels like we do. Did you do the book sale mailing with all the labels this year?
No, I just show it press, I send them the mailing list and they print it right on the cards.
They print it right on the cards. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we know how to do this then. So John, at
Yeah.
the meeting, we can talk about that, but we can easily send out an invitation to whatever radius we want, but 6 blocks cost $250.
Okay, sounds good. And yeah, the East I'm curious, did the East Town did that check get sent out to them? March?
I believe it did. I mean, I sent him an email, told him what happened, and asked him to send the check directly, so.
Okay. So I just haven't received anything like, but I don't know if they do this. Welcome new member, blah, blah, blah. So that says that I'm a member or that we are a member. So I will reach out to them and then also see if we can, share the information of the event with their group as well.
Do they have a newsletter? I mean, a e-news or something?
Correct. E-news, yes.
And the ads in the River West Current are very cheap too, but I think that might be too late because I have to have that ad in by next week, Tuesday. So forget about that one.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if we get some posters made and put them up at Metro Market and stuff.
You have a chance to talk to Jenny Dean Carroll about the choir picnic 4 days before the Sunday one?
Say that again.
Did you have a chance yet to talk with Jenny Gettle about the choir picnic, which is currently scheduled for a Wednesday night, July 10th, I think?
Right.
4 days for the picnic on a Sunday. I'm wondering if there's some synergy in combining those. Maybe not.
I don't think so. I think the choir picnic is just I've got it tomorrow.
More social on their part. right?
July 10th.
Right.
Oh, it's July 10th. Okay. It's
Yeah.
not tomorrow. Well, that just made my day easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know that there's any connection, Steve. I mean, we should certainly remind all the choir that they should come on the
Yeah,
Or help.
14th or help. Yep.
yeah.
I mean, I could talk to Jenny too. I mean, there was, I think you, Mary, didn't we talk about possible strolling a handful, like a quartet or something skiing?
Yeah. We just
My
have to
sense
figure
is
out what
this
to
is-
sing.
Right.
My sense this is just a chance for the choir just to relax and recreate with each other
Yeah.
as an end of the year sort of activity.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I had also thrown out a note to Gary and Denise about cheaper than therapy or whatever it's called, his little band. But
oh yeah.
I should reach out to him again
Okay.
because this was still in formation when I threw that idea out to him. And so, they go up north a lot. So
Yeah.
that's what I got. I don't know. Any other feedback on that?
No, that's exciting.
Okay. I hope so.
John, I'm sorry, I maybe missed it, but is she putting something in the e-news or was it already last week?
It was last week, and I think it'll run again.
This week, yeah.
And then I'm going to make some sign-up sheets for the guild hall. I have to remember to do that this week at work. So
Okay.
There's still stuff we need to plan for too, so we don't entirely know what it's gonna look like and what help is needed.
that's true. Okay.
So I'm
Greg?
giving you another week off. You can do it after the meeting.
Okay, boss. Thanks.
All right. If there's nothing else, then the last two orders of business, this is turning into the Lynn Miranda show. Lynn Miranda, for the new people, I don't know if you know this, but we have a board that watches over the columbarium and just administers the columbarium and gets the plaques made and the niches sold and things like that. And there's 4 people on the board, the dean, and then Miriam Stoff, Lynn Miranda, and Fred Thames. And Lynn's term is up. And technically, the columbarium board administers the columbarium on behalf of the chapter. And so we need to appoint Lynn as a chapter to another term on the columbarium board.
Is this her first repeat or is this?
No,
He's done several cycles. Miriam and I have been there since day one.
yeah.
Are people breaking down your door to get nominated to this thing?
I don't think so.
No, although I do have to say they've kept it running very smoothly, and I guess the biggest pass that they did was a couple years ago installed the second phase, the other wall of columbarium niches,
Yeah.
which should. Fred, do you remember what the number is as far as percentage
We have
sold?
200 niches overall, and there's about 8 sold on the new side. So we've got well over 100, 120 go.
Yeah, so we should be good.
I'll nominate her.
All right, yeah, so we need to nominate and approve Lynn.
I'll second her if she wants another term.
Yeah, really.
He's
So
willing.
John approved, or Steve seconded. All in favor?
I
Aye. And then also the Cathedral Corporation. Oh, and also thank you all for coming 2 weeks ago to St. John's to that meeting. I thought that was really good. I thought it was
It's a good meeting.
just a really good way for everybody to talk about the history of the thing and give everybody a little bit understanding about what's there. And as we continue the conversation of where things need to go, I just thought it was really good. But in the meantime, the Cathedral Corporation board still has 2 empty seats on it. And the way it works is that on a rotating basis, the bishop appoints somebody, which we don't have a bishop. The dean appoints somebody and the chapter appoints somebody. And so what I'd like to, and Lynn has been on the board many times. She's got a lot of historical memory, and she's agreed to go back on it in the short term until we decide how everything is going to look. So what I'd like to use her as the chapter. I'd like the chapter to nominate her.
Second.
So that's John and Steve. All right.
High five, John.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And so we do have one open slot. If anybody's really interested in sitting on it, talk to me about it, and I can explain a little bit to you about it. But that leaves the dean's appointment open. If somebody comes along, I can nominate somebody to fill that slot. But as you heard, we have a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
And so we need the help. And then Fred is going to come on in the capacity of what do we call it? Historical
I'm
advisor.
following in Fred Weinman's footsteps, historical advisor.
Historical
I don't have to
advisor.
take it seriously, but I can go to the meetings.
Right. So he'll have voice, but he won't vote. But we'll have some past corporate experience on that. So I think that's about it. I know we've had a lot of meetings lately. We have the next one is June 25th is in person.
If somebody else volunteers an interest in corporation, it would be real nice if it had a secretary again who was
Yeah.
minuting things.
Is that a
well,
hit?
we also recorded the last 2 or 3 meetings that Cindy is going to transcribe for us. So,
Good.
So we'll have some minutes.
That's good.
Binder is awaiting.
Yep. So does anybody else have anything?
The corporation? Just that, I know we have another meeting coming up and I was reading over the last minutes and it said we were going to look at ways to advertise for the different committee things and ushers and readers and just do a you know, like some kind of a, over the summer to get extra people. And we didn't talk about that, so I'm not saying we should do it now, but it should be on the agenda for the next
What did we
meeting.
call it the last time we did that? Like a ministry festival or?
Yeah, we had something like that. Every other representative committees had a person out there and it was in the guild hall.
Yeah,
So like the stewardship and all that other stuff were just out there and people could talk about what they did.
okay. I'll put that on the agenda for next time.
Just
All
easier
right.
done during the summer when everybody's together.
Yep. Anything else from anybody? All right. Well, everybody go out and enjoy what's left of the evening. Supposed to get hot tomorrow again. Summer's back.
All right.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Kevin, could you hold on just a second?
Yeah, sure.
Since I missed the first part of the meeting, can I listen to the recording someplace?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and then were you gonna post that other one from the last meeting? Oh, no, we didn't have a meeting.
No,
Right.
we didn't.
Yeah, so,
I recorded it. It copped out about halfway through, but technically we didn't need minutes for that meeting.
yeah, because you didn't transact any business.
Right.
So I'll just make a note in these minutes that we held that meeting, but no business was transacted. The interim meeting is to take the place of that meeting or something to that
Yep.
effect.
All right. Well, I just recorded this one, so I'll start uploading it and then I'll send you the link in the morning.
Okay, that's fine. There's no hurry.
Okay.
Probably won't get to it till next week anyway.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Marjorie.
All right, sorry I
Yep.
was overslept. I'm just getting over this really bad cold and it seems all I want to do lately is sleep.
Did you test for COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I don't have COVID. I've
Okay.
had every shot there is, and that was the first thing I thought, and the doctor said, no, you have that.
Okay. Good.
So, no, I'm good.
All
I
right.
have no other symptoms other than just a really bad cough and cold.
Yeah.
So, all right, well,
All right,
thank you.
great.
And I will talk to you again.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.